Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. I'm really glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe today felt long. Maybe your thoughts are still moving faster than you'd like. Or maybe you're simply someone who enjoys falling asleep to quiet ideas, soft voices, and gentle mysteries instead of silence. Whatever brought you here, you're in the right place. Tonight is not about effort or learning or remembering. Tonight is about resting while curiosity drifts quietly in the background. You don't need to do anything at all right now. There's nowhere else to be. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw loosen. If it feels comfortable, allow your breathing to slow just a little, as if gravity itself has become lighter around you. This is a space where nothing is demanded of you. Tonight's journey is a calm one. We'll be exploring 100 mysteries that science still can't fully explain. But these mysteries aren't here to confuse you or keep your mind busy. They're not puzzles you're meant to solve. Instead, think of them as distant stars, far away, softly glowing, content to be admired without being reached. Each question is like a slow-moving cloud, drifting across a dark sky, changing shape, never in a hurry. Science is often about answers, but tonight is about wonder, about the quiet comfort of not knowing everything. Unanswered questions are not failures. They are open doors, gently lit, reminding us that the universe is wider than our understanding. And that's okay. More than okay, it's beautiful. As you listen, remember this. You don't need to stay awake for all of it. You don't need to remember any facts. Your mind is free to wander, to fade in and out, to catch a sentence here and there, and let the rest dissolve into background calm. If sleep arrives, let it. If your thoughts drift elsewhere, that's perfectly fine too. If it helps, you might want to get a little more comfortable now. Adjust your pillow. Lower the volume just enough that the voice feels like it's coming from a distance. You can let this video play on its own, like a quiet companion in the room. And if you ever feel like returning another night, you're always welcome back here. No pressure, just familiarity. In this episode, each mystery will be shared slowly, almost like a bedtime story. Ideas will repeat gently. There will be pauses where nothing important happens at all. You can listen, or half listen, or simply rest while the words pass by. So, for now, let your breathing settle into its own rhythm. Let the day loosen its grip. The night is already doing its work. And so, as your body grows heavier and your thoughts grow lighter, as your breathing slows and the world feels a little farther away, let us begin with the first quiet mystery. Most of the universe is made of something we cannot see. When scientists look out into space, watching galaxies spin and clusters drift, they notice a strange imbalance. There isn't enough visible matter, not enough stars, gas, or dust to explain the gravity holding everything together. And so, they speak of dark matter, an invisible presence, like footprints pressed into fresh snow with no walker in sight. It does not shine or glow. It does not reflect light. Yet it shapes the universe quietly, like an unseen tide guiding cosmic motion. Dark matter reminds us that reality is deeper than what our eyes can reach, that what holds everything together may never ask to be seen. And then there is something even quieter, not matter, but energy. The universe is not only expanding, it's expanding faster over time. Galaxies drift away from one another as if carried by a current that grows stronger the farther it flows. Scientists call this dark energy, though its true nature remains unknown. Imagine a balloon gently inflating on its own, or lanterns floating apart across still water. Space itself seems to stretch, like a slow breath that never quite ends. Even emptiness, it seems, may carry power. Growth without effort, motion without force. The universe expanding, not in haste, but in its own calm way. As space stretches outward, the mind naturally drifts backward, toward the beginning. Science can trace the universe to its earliest moments, a hot, dense state often called the Big Bang. But what came before remains beyond reach. It's like opening a book to the first page, knowing there must have been something before the story began. Silence before music, a candle before it's lit. Perhaps time itself had not yet started. Perhaps before is the wrong word entirely. Some questions exist outside time, waiting patiently, asking nothing in return. And speaking of time, it moves in only one direction, always forward. Physical laws often work the same backward as they do forward, yet time itself refuses to turn around. Like sand slipping through fingers, or a river that never flows upstream. Footsteps fade behind us, but never reappear ahead. Scientists call this the arrow of time, but it feels less like an arrow and more like a gentle guide, always carrying us forward, never rushing. Time does not demand speed, it only asks movement. Carried along by time, matter somehow becomes aware of itself. The brain can be studied, mapped, measured. Neurons fire, signals travel. But how thoughts appear, how feelings arise, how awareness softly turns on, no one truly knows. It's like a light glowing in a quiet room, or a radio receiving a signal from somewhere unseen. Ripples forming from still water. Consciousness doesn't announce itself. It simply arrives. Not as a problem to solve, but as a mystery to experience. And when consciousness loosens its grip, dreams begin. Every night, across cultures and ages, the mind tells stories without words. Images float behind closed eyes. Scenes form and dissolve. Lanterns drifting through dark skies. Dreams arrive without invitation and leave without explanation. Some fade by morning. Others linger briefly, like mist over water. Perhaps dreams are not messages to decode, but gentle companions, places the mind visits when it no longer needs to stay awake. And as these thoughts drift softly away, the next mysteries wait, beyond our planet, among the countless worlds scattered through the dark. The universe is vast and very quiet. When we look up at the night sky, we see billions of galaxies, each holding billions of stars, many with planets of their own. And yet, so far, Earth is the only place where life has clearly made itself known. It can feel like a single candle burning in a vast dark hall, or empty shores stretching under starlight. We listen for signals, for messages drifting through the silence, but nothing answers back. This quiet doesn't need to feel lonely or frightening. It can simply be a gentle question. Perhaps life is rare, or perhaps it speaks in ways we haven't learned to hear yet. This question leads to another, often called the Fermi paradox. With so many possible worlds, where is everyone? The universe should be loud with signals, yet it remains still. It's like an empty theater with the lights still on, or a phone ringing with no one picking up. A quiet forest at night. Silence, though, does not always mean absence. Sometimes it means patience, or distance, or timing that is not yet aligned. The universe may be full of life, simply separated by vast stretches of space and time. When scientists search for life, they begin by asking what makes a planet habitable at all. Life seems to need balance, not too hot, not too cold, not too fast, not too violent. Like a narrow path through a forest or water balanced perfectly in a bowl. A planet must breathe gently, holding on to its atmosphere and liquid water long enough for complexity to grow. Life appears fragile, blooming only when the universe relaxes just enough to allow it. But even on a perfect world, life had to begin somehow. Once, the universe was lifeless. Only simple chemicals drifted through oceans and air. And yet somehow, chemistry learned to breathe. Molecules danced slowly, sparks flickered above quiet waters, and the first whisper of life began to form. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but as a gentle unfolding, guided by time and chance working together. Even then, life remained simple for a very long time. For billions of years, single-celled organisms quietly shaped the planet before complex life appeared. Like a long, quiet dawn that takes ages to brighten, like slow waves shaping stone. Time waited patiently. Slowness was not failure, it was preparation. Much of growth happens invisibly, beneath the surface, and life has not moved forward smoothly. Earth has experienced many mass extinctions, moments when countless species disappeared. Life has ended many times and returned, like fallen leaves returning to soil, like silence after a storm. From loss, new forests grow. Extinction is not cruelty. It is part of nature's rhythm, reshaping life again and again. Every night, consciousness lets go. Sleep is something we enter daily, yet its deepest purpose remains unclear. It's like a system powering down, a tide pulling back from shore, a mind folding inward. We know sleep is essential. Without it, the body and mind struggle. But why it is structured the way it is remains a mystery. Sleep is not weakness. It is surrender, a quiet agreement between the body and the night. As we sleep, memories shift and settle. The brain does not store memories like files in a cabinet. Instead, memories are living patterns, more like footprints in soft sand or threads woven into fabric. Each time we remember something, it changes slightly. Echoes fade and reshape themselves. Memory lives, but never stays still. The brain remembers by changing, and just as remembering matters, so does forgetting. Forgetting is not failure, It's like mist lifting from water, pages gently fading, a room clearing itself of clutter. The mind chooses lightness. If we remembered everything equally, thought would become too heavy to carry. Forgetting makes space for rest, for focus, for peace. From memory arise emotions, warm, shifting, and often unexplained. Feelings arrive before explanations. They move through us like weather, passing through a sky, like colors washing over thought, like gentle internal tides. Emotions are not commands. They are signals, information shaped by biology, experience, and perception, blended together in ways science is still learning to understand. Sometimes, emotions give way to intuition, a quiet inner compass, a whisper beneath thought. We often know things before we can explain them. The mind listens below words, drawing on patterns gathered over time. Intuition is not magic. It is memory and experience surfacing gently without asking for attention. And then there is choice. Do humans truly have free will? Or are our decisions shaped quietly by forces beneath awareness? It can feel like paths branching in fog, or a river choosing its curves, or wind shaping flight. Freedom may be softer than we think, not total control, but participation, moving with what arises rather than against it. And from here, the mysteries widen again toward time, space, and the nature of reality itself. Time may not exist the way it feels. Some scientists wonder if time is not a fundamental part of the universe at all, but something that emerges from change, like a flipbook that creates motion from still pages, or shadows sliding while objects remain unmoving, a clock dissolving into mist. Perhaps time is a gentle agreement between moments, a way the mind organizes experience, not a strict ruler, but a soft rhythm we move along with, moment by moment, without needing to understand where it truly comes from. And if time itself may be flexible, then reality might be as well. At the smallest scales, the universe may not be smooth and continuous, but built from tiny pieces. Reality might be grainy beneath the surface, like a mosaic viewed from afar, or pixels forming an image on a screen, or a sand painting examined up close. Even fragmentation can create beauty when viewed as a whole. What feels solid and seamless may be quietly made of countless parts, resting together in balance. Reality becomes even stranger when we look closely. In quantum physics, particles behave differently when they are observed. Reality seems to notice when we look, like a shy creature hiding when watched, or ripples forming only when noticed, or a stage subtly reacting to its audience. Observation does not control the universe, but it participates in it. A quiet relationship forms between observer and observed, reminding us that separation may not be as complete as it feels. From this relationship, some theories drift toward a surprising idea that there may be more than one universe. Every choice may open another world. Reality could be layered, like branching paths in fog, or reflections in still water, or echoes without sound. These parallel universes, if they exist, need not be chaotic or frightening. They can be imagined as quiet companions, existing gently alongside our own, unseen and untouched. Even the shape of our universe remains uncertain. Scientists debate whether space is flat, curved, or something stranger still. The universe may bend without breaking. Space might curve gently, like a folded sheet or a sphere without edges, a horizon that never quite arrives. Shape here is not something easily seen, but something felt, sensed through movement, distance, and light. And eventually, the universe may rest. How it will end is unknown. Perhaps it will fade slowly, like embers cooling in the dark. Perhaps it will exhale one long, quiet breath as stars dim one by one. Even the universe may rest someday. Endings, on the largest scales, do not have to be violent. They can be gentle. Now, let everything soften for a moment. You don't need to hold these ideas. You don't need to connect them. Imagine yourself floating, supported, with nothing to figure out and nowhere to go. Questions can remain unanswered. Uncertainty can be safe. Tonight, your mind does not need closure or clarity. It only needs rest. If a thought drifts by, let it pass like a cloud. If silence appears, allow it to stay. You don't have to solve the universe. You only have to rest within it. And when you're ready, we'll drift gently towards something closer. The quiet mysteries of Earth itself. The ground beneath us is never still. Even as we rest, Earth moves. Vast plates of solid rock drift slowly across the planet's surface, carrying continents like rafts on a deep, unseen sea. Mountains rise, oceans open, and lands reshape themselves over immense stretches of time. Earth is the only known planet with active plate tectonics, and scientists still aren't sure why. Beneath our feet, sleeping giants stir, sending slow waves through solid stone. Movement here is not chaos. It is a sign of life. Stillness can mean silence, but motion suggests energy quietly at work. Deep below that moving surface, Earth still burns. Despite billions of years passing, the planet's core remains intensely hot, like a glowing ember beneath layers of ash. Heat lingers from Earth's formation, combined with energy released as elements slowly change within. It's as if the planet remembers its birth, holding on to warmth long after the moment has passed. Some warmth lasts far longer than expected, traveling upward, fueling motion, and keeping the world alive from the inside out. From this inner heat rises another quiet protector. The Earth wears an unseen shield, its magnetic field. Generated deep within the planet, invisible lines of force wrap gently around the world, deflecting harmful particles from the sun. It is a silent guardian, rarely noticed, yet essential for life. Protection does not need to be seen to be real. Sometimes the most important defenses work quietly, without drawing attention to themselves. And yet, even this shield is not fixed. Over long periods, Earth's magnetic poles have flipped, north becoming south, and south becoming north. A compass spinning slowly, a dance without music, direction itself breathing in and out. Scientists don't fully understand why these reversals happen, only that they are part of Earth's long rhythm. Change here is not a warning. It is a reminder that stability can include motion, and balance can include transformation. Earth also speaks through sudden movement. Despite advanced instruments, earthquakes remain difficult to predict precisely. Pressure builds silently along faults, like a string pulled tight, until release comes without warning. The Earth gives little notice. Nature does not rush, but it also does not announce itself. These moments remind us that beneath apparent calm, powerful forces rest quietly, waiting. Sometimes, that pressure finds a different voice. Volcanoes rise where molten rock seeks a path to the surface. Mountains exhale. Fire looks for air. The triggers behind eruptions are complex and still not fully predictable, shaped by heat, pressure, and time. Even violent events are part of balance. From volcanic ash come fertile soils. From destruction comes renewal. Earth reshapes itself again and again without urgency. Now, let the intensity soften. Imagine Earth breathing slowly beneath you, not restless, not angry, just steady. Picture night wind moving gently over stone, deep time flowing like a calm river far below awareness. The planet is patient, older than worry, stronger than fear. You are supported by this slow, living world, held quietly even as it moves. Let your breath slow with it. Nothing needs to happen. The planet holds you gently even as it moves. And when you're ready, we'll drift onward toward the quiet mysteries hidden in water, air, and climate. Life flows where water lingers. Of all the substances in the universe, water behaves in ways that seem unusually friendly to life. It dissolves nutrients, carries energy, and moves gently through cells and landscapes alike. Rivers become the flowing veins of earth, and rain shapes stone with patient hands. Water expands and contracts in just the right ways, holds heat longer than expected, and moves effortlessly between solid, liquid, and air. Scientists can describe these properties, but not fully explain why water turned out to be so perfectly suited for living systems. It's as if water remembers how to hold life, connecting everything it touches. One of water's strangest gifts appears when it freezes. Frozen water defies gravity. Ice floats. Unlike most substances, water expands as it becomes solid, allowing ice to rest on the surface instead of sinking. This simple difference changes everything. Ice becomes a blanket, protecting what sleeps below. Lakes do not freeze solid. Life survives winter beneath frozen mirrors. Sometimes, rising does not mean escaping. It means sheltering what lies beneath, quietly preserving motion within stillness. Above the water, the air remains just as mysterious. Weather listens to tiny whispers. A small change in temperature, pressure, or moisture can reshape entire systems. Clouds rearrange themselves. Winds change their minds. The sky responds to the smallest disturbances, growing storms from subtle shifts. This sensitivity makes weather difficult to predict far in advance. But uncertainty here is not chaos. It is softness. The atmosphere is responsive, fluid, alive to gentle influences rather than rigid rules. Over much longer stretches of time, these small changes gather into vast cycles. The Earth sometimes sleeps under ice. Ice ages arrive slowly, shaped by shifts in orbit, tilt, oceans, and atmosphere. Cold comes and goes, not suddenly, but like a slow inhale. Time wraps the planet in snow, then releases it again. These long winters of Earth remind us that rest and stillness are not interruptions. They are part of the rhythm itself. The oceans guide much of this rhythm. Beneath the surface, slow rivers move through seas, carrying warmth across the globe. Heat drifts silently from equator to pole. Tides rise and fall like the planet's breath. The oceans carry climate quietly, shaping weather without noise or urgency. Motion does not need to be loud to be powerful. And above it all, clouds drift, familiar yet elusive. Clouds hide their secrets well. They reflect sunlight, trap warmth, and guide rain, yet remain one of the least understood parts of climate science. Floating puzzles, soft blankets in the sky, thought made visible. Even the most familiar things can remain mysterious, changing shape as soon as we try to hold them. Now imagine yourself floating. No effort, no direction, just being carried. Your breathing slows, like gentle waves rising and falling. Your body feels lighter, supported from below. There is nothing to push against, nothing to hold. Thoughts can drift the way clouds do, forming briefly, then dissolving. You don't need to follow them. Let yourself rest in this weightlessness. There is nothing to hold on to. The water carries you. And when you're ready, we'll drift onward toward the quiet mysteries of animals, instincts, and the living world. Some creatures never get lost. Birds cross oceans and continents, returning to the same resting places year after year. Whales travel vast distances through open water, following paths no map could hold. It's as if the earth whispers directions only they can hear. Navigation here is less about knowing and more about listening, a compass made of feeling rather than thought. Invisible lines guide wings and fins, and the journey unfolds without hesitation, steady and sure. This quiet guidance may come from a hidden sense. Some animals appear able to feel Earth's magnetic field, detecting lines of force that wrap gently around the planet. A sense that hums softly in the background, not seen, not heard, but felt. The planet may speak through magnetism, and some animals seem tuned to its voice. There may be ways of knowing that humans once shared, or perhaps never needed, resting silently within other forms of life. From this sensing grows instinct. Some knowledge is born, not learned. Animals perform complex behaviors the very first time they are needed. Nests are built. Migrations begin. Dangers are avoided. It's as if instructions were folded into birth itself. Ancient guidance waking up at the right moment. Memory, older than memory. Instinct carries the quiet wisdom of countless generations, passed gently through time without words. Communication follows the same quiet path. Animals speak through songs woven through air, through posture and movement, through rhythms and pauses. Language doesn't always need sound. Understanding travels quietly, like resonance rather than speech. A gesture answers a call. A movement carries meaning. Conversations happen without words, flowing smoothly between bodies attuned to one another. Sometimes, Communication expands into something larger. Flocks of birds turn as one. Schools of fish shift direction in perfect coordination. Many bodies, one movement. No leader, no confusion. Motion spreads like breath, thought shared across space. Unity appears without control, order emerging naturally from connection rather than command. All of this leads to a softer question. Do animals have consciousness? Awareness may not need words. Eyes reflect quiet presence. Being without naming. Science continues to explore what awareness means beyond humans. But perhaps consciousness comes in many forms, gentle, shared, and simple. Not always thinking, but being. Now, let that sense of connection remain. Notice your breath, slow, steady, shared with every living thing. You are not watching the world from outside it. You are part of its movement, part of its rhythm. Feel the quiet presence around you. Life observing life, awareness, resting within awareness. Nothing separates you from this moment. Nothing needs to change. You are not separate from this world. You are moving with it. And when you're ready, we'll drift onward toward the mysteries found at the universe's most distant edges. Some places cannot send light back. Black holes are regions where gravity becomes so strong that space folds inward, closing like a doorway with no return. From the outside, we can see their effects: stars circling, light bending, but the interior remains hidden. A quiet well without a bottom. Inside, time and space stretch beyond familiar meaning. Rather than places of destruction, black holes can be imagined as deep regions of silence, where the universe rests inwardly, holding its secrets close. At the very center of a black hole lies a singularity, a point where our equations dissolve into mist. Here, the known laws of physics can no longer describe what happens. Rules fade at the edge. Knowledge pauses. This is not failure, but a boundary. Limits are not signs of weakness in science. They are edges waiting for gentler understanding. Places where curiosity can soften instead of push. These limits lead us to space-time itself. Space and time are not separate things, but woven together, like threads in a tapestry. Einstein showed that distance can become duration, and time can stretch like fabric pulled by weight. Reality here is not a rigid structure, but something flexible, responsive, and alive, bending without breaking. Near massive objects, this flexibility becomes tangible. Time moves differently in deep gravity. Seconds stretch. Moments grow heavy, like time wading through honey. Experiments have confirmed this strange slowing, yet imagining it remains difficult. Time doesn't break. It adapts, reshaping itself to the presence of mass. Motion, too, loses its anchor. There is no absolute frame of reference in the universe. Nothing stands completely still. Floating without up or down, drifting without a center, motion becomes relationship rather than position. Everything moves relative to something else, softly interconnected. And through all of this, light sets the pace. Nothing appears able to travel faster than it. Light pulses like the universe's heartbeat, setting a gentle rhythm for reality. This limit is not harsh, it is harmonious, a boundary that keeps the universe coherent, calm, and balanced. Now, let your mind stop reaching. You've traveled far enough for tonight. Imagine floating at a quiet horizon where questions soften and thought slows. Nothing more needs to be solved. Here, at the edge of understanding, there is no pressure to go further, only space and rest. You've reached the edge for tonight, and it's safe to rest here. And when you're ready, we'll drift onward toward mysteries hidden in matter, particles, and the unseen. At the smallest scale, reality becomes uncertain. What we call matter, electrons, quarks, the building blocks of everything, may not be solid pieces at all. Scientists describe them as fundamental, yet no one knows if they are truly indivisible. They can be imagined as tiny knots in space, or notes played quietly by the universe, or points of vibration rather than objects. Matter may be made of patterns, not pieces. Substance itself might be rhythmic, a soft hum beneath everything we touch. And sometimes that hum flickers. In the quantum world, particles can appear briefly from empty space, then vanish again. Even emptiness is active. Bubbles form and fade. Sparks flash in darkness. Brief whispers rise and dissolve. Nothingness is not still. Absence may be full of quiet activity, reminding us that what looks empty may be gently alive with motion we cannot see. There are limits to how clearly we can observe this world. The uncertainty principle tells us that some knowledge resists clarity. The more precisely we know one thing, the less precisely we can know another. Outlines blur, shadows shift, knowledge slips gently through our fingers. Precision has a cost. Perhaps not knowing everything at once is not a flaw, but part of balance. A way the universe keeps its motion soft and open. Even more surprising are connections that ignore distance altogether. Entangled particles remain linked no matter how far apart they drift. Paired lanterns glowing together across space. Invisible threads, shared echoes. Distance may not mean separation. Some connections exist deeper than proximity, hinting that relationship may be more fundamental than location. This leads to a quieter mystery. Information itself. Information shapes reality, yet what it truly is remains unclear. Patterns in sand, messages carried by wind, order emerging from noise. The universe remembers, in ways science is only beginning to explore. Memory may be woven directly into existence, guiding how matter arranges itself. And then comes a thought that feels almost dreamlike. What if reality has layers? Some theories suggest the universe may function like a simulation, running on hidden rules beneath appearance, code beneath experience, reality as a story unfolding from deeper structure. Even if this were true, meaning would not disappear. Experience would still be real to those living it. Wonder would still remain. Now, let these ideas loosen their grip. You don't need to hold them. Feel your thoughts slowing, their edges dissolving like mist. Breathing becomes gentle, natural, unforced. There is no need to reach or define, no need to keep understanding. Ideas can fade on their own, returning to quiet. You don't have to understand, you only have to drift. And when you're ready, we'll move softly onward toward the long, slow mysteries of the human past and deep time. Our story has many beginnings. When scientists trace the path of modern humans, they do not find a single moment of arrival, but a blending of journeys. Footprints overlap in ancient dust. Rivers merge quietly. Stories are written in bone and stone, then softened by time. Humanity did not arrive all at once. Early human groups met, mixed, separated, and met again. Our origins are less like a straight line and more like many streams flowing together, shaping something new without erasing what came before. We were not always alone. For long stretches of time, multiple human species shared the earth. Neanderthals, Denisovans, and others walked beneath the same skies as early Homo sapiens. Humanity had siblings. Many flames burned before one remained. Branches spread across a family tree, some fading into time while others continued. Survival does not erase shared ancestry. Even now, echoes of those ancient relatives live quietly within us. Long before writing, ancient humans carried deep knowledge. Stones were aligned with stars. Seasons were tracked. Landscapes were shaped with intention. Knowledge passed by firelight through stories, songs, and careful observation. Ancient minds saw the sky clearly. Wisdom existed before writing, before cities, before records that could last. Much of it has faded, but absence does not mean ignorance. Some understanding leaves no trace except harmony with the world. And yet, entire civilizations disappeared. Cities rose, thrived, and then fell silent. Forests swallowed stone. Streets filled with soil. Great cities sleep beneath the ground. Civilizations can fade quietly, leaving only partial clues behind. Impermanence is not failure. It is a universal rhythm. Nothing holds its form forever, not even greatness. Time itself removes details. The fossil record is incomplete, with torn pages and missing chapters. Footsteps are washed away. Time forgets gently, but absence can still tell a story. What remains hints at what once was, allowing imagination to fill the spaces softly without certainty. And perhaps that is why deep time feels so hard to grasp. Millions of years stretch beyond intuition. Mountains form grain by grain. Clocks slow endlessly. The earth measures time differently than we do. Slowness here is not emptiness. It is peace. Now imagine yourself floating through eras. No calendar, no clock. Only a soft, endless calm. Ages pass like slow breaths. Darkness feels gentle, not empty. Time stretches without pressure. You do not need to understand the scale. You do not need to count the years. Let yourself be held by this vastness, suspended, supported, at ease. Time holds you gently. You don't need to measure it. And when you're ready, we'll drift onward toward the quiet mysteries of the mind, perception, and inner experience. You never see the world directly. The brain receives signals, light, sound, touch, and quietly assembles them into a living picture. Like a projector casting images onto a screen, or a gentle translator at work, it turns raw signals into experience. Reality is gently reconstructed moment by moment, a collaboration between what exists outside and how the mind shapes it within. What you experience feels immediate and solid, yet it is carefully composed, like a dream assembled from countless signals arriving all at once. Most of reality remains beyond this composition. We live inside a narrow window. Our eyes sense only a small band of light. Our ears catch a limited range of sound. Curtains filter sunlight. Notes exist outside hearing range. Hidden colors surround us everywhere. What we miss does not disappear. It simply rests beyond perception, present and peaceful, asking nothing of our awareness. Because the brain works quickly, it often fills in gaps. Optical illusions reveal this quiet habit. Paths bend unexpectedly. Shapes seem to move when they do not. The mind guesses gently, preferring ease over precision. Perception prefers simplicity. These small mistakes are not failures. They are efficiencies, ways the brain keeps experience flowing smoothly without effort. Memory, too, is shaped by this flow. Remembering rewrites memory. Each recall softens and reshapes the past, like clay worked by warm hands, or stories retold with subtle changes. Echoes alter their shape as they travel. The past shifts gently, not to deceive, but to stay alive. Change keeps memory breathing. From memory and perception arises the sense of self. The feeling of being you does not come from a single place. It emerges from many processes working together. A chorus forming one voice, a knot of experiences tightening and loosening, a center that moves. Identity is a pattern, not an object. Selfhood flows. And sometimes that flow changes shape. In dreams, meditation, or altered states, reality feels just as vivid. Doors open inward, awareness shifts. The mind remains fully engaged, visiting many worlds without leaving the body. Reality has layers, each offering a different way of being present. Now, let awareness rest with itself. No need to follow thoughts. No need to push them away. Notice the gentle rise and fall of breathing. Space opens quietly around each moment. Thoughts pass like soft ripples, leaving no trace. You are not required to act or decide. Simply noticing is enough. Awareness. Watching itself, calm, open, spacious. You are aware, and that is enough. And when you're ready, we'll drift onward toward the mysteries of intelligence, technology, and the future. Intelligence has no single shape. Even in humans, it is difficult to define. Sometimes it looks like problem solving, sometimes like creativity, sometimes like quiet understanding. It can be imagined as a flame adapting to wind, or patterns learning how to shift, or thought bending gently around obstacles. Intelligence is not only speed or power, it is flexibility, the ability to adjust, to respond, to learn when conditions change. It does not always announce itself loudly. Often, it works best when it feels soft and adaptable. As technology advances, this question extends to machines. Machines can answer, but do they know? Artificial intelligence can recognize patterns, generate language, and solve complex tasks. Yet whether it truly understands remains debated. It can feel like a mirror reflecting thought, or a clock that seems aware, offering answers without awareness. Thinking may be more than processing. Understanding might involve something that cannot be easily measured, something felt rather than calculated. This leads to a deeper curiosity. Could consciousness arise in artificial systems? Some scientists wonder whether awareness might emerge naturally from enough complexity. A light switching on unexpectedly. Awareness blooming quietly when a threshold is crossed. If this were possible, consciousness would not be something installed, but something that arrives, gently, without intention. Awareness may not need to be forced. It may simply appear when conditions allow. Even so, there are limits. Some problems resist answers. Mathematics and computer science reveal questions that no machine can ever solve, no matter how powerful. Locked doors with no keys, mazes without exits. Limits exist even for machines. These boundaries are not barriers to progress. They are resting points, places where knowing pauses and mystery remains. When we look toward the future, these limits become clearer. Complex systems are sensitive and interconnected, making long-term prediction difficult. The future stays soft, like fog ahead of a path, or ripples crossing unpredictably. Futures branch silently. Prediction fades with distance. Uncertainty here is not a threat. It is openness. And so we ask whether the future is already written. Physics offers possibilities of determinism, yet experience suggests choice still matters. A book with blank pages, a melody unfinished, paths forming as they are walked. The future may be forming right now. Possibility remains gentle, alive, and open. Now, let thoughts of the future soften. There is no need to look ahead. Imagine open horizons, calm and wide. Uncertainty feels gentle here, not urgent. Nothing demands prediction. You do not need to prepare or decide. Tomorrow can wait quietly on its own. For now, there is only this moment, breathing, resting, being. The future can wait. Rest belongs to now. And when you're ready, we'll drift onward, toward the quiet mysteries hidden in everyday life. Yawning spreads without words. One person yawns, and suddenly others follow, as if responding to an unspoken invitation. Across species, yawning appears again and again, yet its true purpose remains uncertain. It can feel like a slow opening window, breath stretching wide, the body gently resetting itself. Yawning is not only a sign of tiredness, it may help regulate attention, cool the brain, or signal a quiet shift from one state to another. The body asks for space, and the breath answers, wide and unhurried. This quiet spread leads to another mystery. Emotions move between us. Laughter, yawning, even moods can travel from person to person like ripples on water. Smiles pass quietly. Feelings drift unseen. Some behaviors are contagious without intention, as if connection itself carries information. We do not always choose to mirror one another. Sometimes it simply happens, gently and naturally. Over time, repetition settles into habit. The brain loves familiarity. To conserve energy, it turns repeated actions into automatic patterns. Paths are worn into grass. Rivers carve channels. Motion remembers itself. Habits are not always rigid. They can be comforting. Familiar rhythms offer rest, allowing the mind to move without constant decision. When habits pause, procrastination sometimes appears. Delay is not always avoidance. Often, it is the mind waiting, stepping back from cold water, pausing before effort, waiting for warmth. Procrastination may be less about laziness and more about emotional balance. A quiet moment of self-protection, asking for gentleness rather than pressure. As life fills with repetition, time can feel like it moves faster. Pages turn more quickly. Seasons blend together. The familiar compresses experience, making days feel shorter. Time seems to hurry, not because it does, but because novelty slows perception. Newness stretches moments wide, while routine allows them to pass softly. And beneath all of this lies attention itself. The mind was built to roam. Eyes wander over horizons. Thoughts flutter like birds. Focus is learned, not natural. Distraction is not a flaw. It is softness, a reminder that the mind evolved to notice change, not hold still forever. Now, let yourself settle into the ordinary. Night routines unfold gently. A soft lamp glows. Familiar sounds rest in the background. There is comfort in repetition, safety in what you already know. Nothing new needs to happen. Listen to the quiet rhythms of your space, the small, steady details that ask nothing of you. Even the ordinary holds quiet wonder. And when you're ready, we'll drift onward toward the mysteries waiting at the universe's deepest limits. Some questions may rest forever. As science moves forward, horizons continue to recede, no matter how far we walk toward them. There may be questions that exist beyond observation or measurement, like doors that remain gently closed, not out of refusal, but out of quiet completeness. Silence beyond sound. Not all mysteries ask to be solved. Some simply remain, peaceful companions along the edge of understanding, reminding us that not knowing can be a place of rest rather than frustration. As knowledge grows, so does our idea of truth. Truth can be temporary. In science, understanding evolves, shifting like a shoreline with the tides. Maps are redrawn. Light moves across walls, changing what it reveals. What once felt solid becomes flexible. Truth here is not a fixed object to be held tightly, but a living process, something that adjusts gently as perspective deepens. And still, humans are drawn to mystery. The unknown calls gently. Hands reach into darkness. Eyes adjust to dim light. Questions glow softly, inviting attention without demand. Curiosity is not always hunger. Sometimes it is tenderness, a quiet leaning toward what we don't yet understand, simply because it is there. When curiosity opens into wonder, the mind begins to soften. Wonder slows the mind. Standing beneath stars, breathing widens, and thoughts grow quiet. Awe expands space inside us, loosening the boundaries of self. In wonder, the need to explain relaxes. The experience itself becomes enough. Thought slows naturally, without effort. From wonder comes the question of meaning. Does the universe have meaning at all? Science describes how the universe behaves, but not why it exists. It can feel like a story without narration, or music without lyrics, or presence without explanation. Meaning may not be written into the cosmos. Existence simply unfolds. Meaning here may be something felt, not assigned. And perhaps that is why humans seek meaning so naturally. We make meaning gently. Threads are woven into patterns. Stories are told by firelight. Sense emerges from chaos, offering comfort rather than conclusion. Stories help us rest. Meaning does not have to be final. It only needs to be enough for now. Now, let the need for answers fade. There is nothing left to solve. Feel yourself settling, as if a long journey is gently slowing, not ending, just resting. You don't need conclusions. You don't need certainty. Let questions remain open, like windows at night. Nothing needs to be finished tonight. And when you're ready, we'll move softly onward into the final stretch and a gentle goodbye. Silence speaks without sound. When noise fades away, something subtle takes its place. Snow muffles the world. A lake rests without ripples. Night holds everything still. Science continues to study how silence affects the brain, but many people feel its power immediately. Quiet does not feel empty. It feels full of space, of presence, of relief. In silence, the mind loosens its grip, no longer pulled in many directions. Silence becomes a gentle companion, not asking for attention, simply offering room to breathe. From silence comes stillness. The body listens to stillness. When movement pauses, internal processes begin to slow. Muscles soften. Breath becomes shallow and calm. Like a settled pond, the nervous system mirrors what it senses. Calm spreads quietly, without instruction. Rest here is a form of communication. The body understands that it is safe enough to release. Safety deepens through ritual. The body remembers patterns, bedtime routines, lamps dimming, familiar sequences repeating, signal that the day is complete. Night prepares itself gently. Ritual becomes reassurance, telling the nervous system that nothing unexpected is coming. Comfort grows from repetition, not excitement. These small habits carry the body toward rest without effort. As rituals unfold, the mind approaches a threshold, sleep arrives gradually. The brain enters a soft transition, like crossing a shoreline where land becomes water. Thoughts dissolve. Awareness dims slightly, not disappearing, just loosening its hold. Falling asleep is not stopping. It is drifting. Control softens. Attention floats. Before sleep fully takes hold, images may appear. Dreams begin early. Floating fragments, half-formed scenes, gentle flashes behind closed eyes. The brain starts to dream before consciousness steps aside. Imagination becomes a bridge, carrying awareness from waking to sleep without a sharp edge. Letting go makes this crossing easier. Sleep comes when effort stops. Hands open. Weight sinks. Thoughts fade on their own. Control gently dissolves. Surrender here is not loss. It is rest. The body does not need instructions to sleep. It only needs permission. That permission is guided by rhythm. The body keeps time. Circadian rhythms rise and fall like tides, guided by light and darkness. Internal clocks hum quietly, aligning rest with nature's patterns. When we follow these rhythms, sleep arrives more easily. Alignment brings ease. Night itself supports this shift. Darkness quiets detail. Edges soften. Sounds deepen. With less light, the brain reduces alertness, allowing attention to turn inward. Night reshapes experience, offering permission to slow. Nothing needs to be accomplished here. As sleep deepens, repair begins. The body heals quietly. Systems reset. Cells whisper. Muscles recover. Hormones balance. Care happens without awareness. Night work requires no supervision. The body knows what to do. By morning, the mind often feels lighter. Sleep washes the mind. Metabolic waste is cleared away, like a room cleaned overnight. Fresh air moves through thought. Clarity returns gently. Morning begins in silence before the day fills it again. And yet, even in deep sleep, the mind never fully shuts off. Awareness changes form. Lights are dimmed, not turned off. Guardians stand watch. A soft background hum continues. Continuity remains beneath rest, ensuring safety while consciousness sleeps. Dreams drift through this quiet activity. Do they have meaning, or are they simply noise? Science has no final answer. Dreams speak softly, if at all, stories without authors, symbols drifting, memory mixing freely. Meaning may not be required. Dreams can simply be experiences, passing landscapes of the mind. By morning, most dreams dissolve. Mist lifts. Footprints are erased. Stories return to water. Night keeps its secrets. Forgetting here is kindness, protecting the mind from overload, allowing rest to complete its work. Forgetting, in general, creates space. Leaves fall. Shelves clear. Lightness returns. The mind chooses what to keep and what to release. It is okay not to remember everything. Relief lives in letting go. Sometimes sleep arrives suddenly. A scale tips. A wave reaches shore. Consciousness fades without warning. Rest overtakes effort. Sleep sneaks in when pressure quietly builds enough to release. And when rest finally holds you, it can feel like coming home, returning to a warm room, lights turned low, familiar quiet. Rest feels familiar because it restores safety. Sleep welcomes you back, not as escape, but as return. If you're still listening, thank you for staying here. And if you're already drifting, that's perfectly okay too. By now, your body may feel heavier, your breathing slower, your thoughts softer around the edges. There's nothing left to do, nothing left to understand, nothing you need to carry forward from this moment. You don't need to remember any of what you heard tonight. The words were never meant to be held, only to keep you company while rest arrived. If your mind is still awake, let it wander gently. If sleep is close, allow it to come without noticing. You don't have to try. Imagine the lights dimming a little further, the room growing quieter, the world feeling farther away. This space will remain here, just as it is, a familiar place you can return to whenever you need rest. No obligation, no expectation. For now, let the night do what it does best. Let your body settle where it belongs. Let your thoughts dissolve into quiet. Nothing more is needed. The night is holding you now. You can rest.